we'll be able to see the comments as well. Right, so it says we're live. Can you see that as well, Amanda? It says we've gone live.
Oh, I can see something in the corner with you. Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, so we've been up 7-8 seconds. So we'll just give it a minute for people to find us. Obviously, for me, it's early doors. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here in the UK.
Yes.
8 o'clock's a perfect time to be doing this, isn't it, in Australia?
It definitely is.
Yeah, so just wait for people to find us. Hopefully they will. All my lot will be on the school run because our kids have gone back to school. Our kids went back to school on Monday because the schools have been closed since December. Since January. So the children have had their first day back at school, went first back to school this week on Monday.
Oh, wow. Yep.
So I guess mums that would normally be in here for me in this time of the morning are all on them. We have one. Good morning. They're all on the school run my end. So I'll just give you a few more minutes to come and find me. Oh, we've got 4. Good morning. Good morning. So let me get my nicotine fix. Bear with me. So good morning. I will give it another couple of minutes, or good evening if you're in Australia.
Oh yeah. Hello everyone.
I'm here in good old wet, windy Blighty in the UK. My God, we've had storms. Oh, morning, Mum. My mum's joined us.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we've had storms here in the UK. It's been lovely and torrential rain.
We've had a hot day here.
Morning, Michelle.
Hey, Mish.
So if you have joined us, pop on and say hi. I'm in the UK and I'm talking to Amanda. Oh, is it Mystical or Mystic Dragon?
Mystical Dragon.
Mystic Dragon. I always, whenever I type that in, I always get it wrong. So,
lots of people do, don't worry.
Okay, good morning, good morning. Do pop on and say hi. We're being Facebook stalked by 5. So it's always good if you can pop on and say hi. And we'd love to know where in the world you are. Because obviously I'm in the UK and Amanda's in you're in Melbourne, aren't you, Amanda?
Yes, yep. Yeah. Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah. So do pop and let us know where you are in the world. We'd love to hear from you and see you. Morning, Amanda. I've got another Amanda with us. How you diddling? You all right? Okay. Where's my screen gone? Come back. Oh, I've got no screen. That's it. That's better. The screen disappears. So is that all we're going to get? No, we must have more than 5. I know it's early in the UK for doing this, but come and join us, guys. Where's the dragons gone? We've had dragon glitches this week in the system. Oh, my word.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, we've had a meditation. We've got meditation tomorrow night at 7:30 UK time with the Dragon Harmony.
Oh, yes, yes.
And for some reason my website has been an absolute pain. It won't accept, we thought we had it sorted yesterday, but for some reason overseas people couldn't book on. It kept saying shipping details, and we thought we'd sorted it, and it turned out there was an update glitch, which we thought the website guys that look after my site had sorted. And I had an email below me, another email this morning saying, "Oh, I still can't get on." It's like, oh, for goodness sake, I thought you guys had sorted this. So anyway,
maybe it's because of the post shadow of Mercury.
It could be. I don't know. It could well be, because Mercury does cause all kinds of technical issues, doesn't it? So it may be. But we thought 3 times this week we thought we'd sorted it, and then then it goes belly up again. Don't you just love technology? So if anybody does want to join me tomorrow night for the humming meditation, you just drop me a direct message or drop me an email, and either Anya will sort out getting you a PayPal link, and we can do it that way. All the time the website's being a bit of a pain. So we got yes, it was a bit. Yeah, I didn't do the wet dog walk this morning. Did you, Amanda? Yeah, my husband did the wet dog walk this morning. Morning, Julie.
Wet dog walk, I love it.
Yeah, it has been a lot of glitches on Facebook. Absolutely, Kaz. So we've got 8 of you on. I think we may as well start, Amanda. What do you reckon?
Yep.
Yeah. So good morning. Thanks for joining us. So this is a bit of a special because, as you guys know, these buttes launched in the UK, the US, Canada, and Europe last October. And then due to COVID, there was a delay in getting them out to Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Morning, Bruce. So they finally, because we thought they were going to launch in, Australia and everywhere else in December, but there was a massive delay on shipping. So we finally hit Australia middle of January, wasn't it, Amanda?
Yes, toward the end of Jan. Yep.
Yeah. So of course, Amanda got a preview deck way back, didn't you? Ages ago. She's been talking to her folks about in Australia. And people, oh, where are they? We can't get them in Australia. No, sorry. But anyway, they are now available in Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So we just thought we'd come on and just really chat about the dragons, what you think, what your favourite dragons are. Obviously, I've got a few followers in Australia. I've got a massive following in the States, a fairly big one in the UK, which is quite strange because I'm UK based, and I seem to have a bigger following in America than I do in the UK.
Wow.
No, it's slightly strange, isn't it? I'm picking up followers in Canada and South Africa, but obviously, I've got half my family lives in Australia. I've got a lot of Australian contacts, and I really like to sort of connect with more dragon people in Australia. So hence doing this meditation and obviously meeting lovely Amanda, and one of your students hooked us together. I just love the synchronicity of this stuff and how it all connects together. So we just have a chat about the dragons, the cards, what you guys think of the cards, your favourite cards, why you like them. Because what I am going to do is Amanda's going to choose your best dragon story. So while we're nattering, do feel free to put down what your favourite dragon experience has been, or your best dragon experience has been, either with or without the deck. It doesn't have to be around the Dragon Path Oracle. And then Amanda's going to choose her favourite story from your comments. And this is only live now. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen after the comments and the live's finished. And I will send out a signed free deck to whoever Amanda chooses. So if you're in Australia, you get I pay the postage, the whole shebang. Okay, you get a signed free deck. So all you have to do is either email me or direct message me through my Facebook page. Okay, so shall we then?
Yeah.
So Amanda, thanks so much for joining me and agreeing to do this. I know we've had a couple of attempts at doing this. Middle of Mercury retrograde, and I
wasn't the best timing.
Oh my God, the thing is we had so much going on in our personal lives as well at the same time, didn't we? It was timing, but it was just completely crazy for both of us. So he said, right, let's leave it till after Mercury retrograde. Let's both get ourselves and our respective stuff sorted out. And then we can, maybe we can do it. And hey, presto, here we are.
Hey, it's working.
It is working. So we've got a couple of hellos to do. So hi, Andrea. How are you, my lovely? Hi, Kiki. How are you?
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Kiki. Hi, everyone.
So, so how have you found obviously, I know you work with dragons because you've got your dragon school, haven't you, in Australia?
Yes.
So how do you find the actual deck themselves compared to your own dragons, and just how you find the dragons really generally, but also
it's a really beautiful deck. First of all, I adore the imagery that is on the deck. That really resonates with me, absolutely. So I just adore working with them, and it's really interesting how all the messages just work. You always get the card that you need. And so it's always the dragon that you need at the time that pops up, some aspect of the message that always makes perfect sense, which has been amazing. I haven't been doing lots of spreads with the deck. I tend to more draw a card and work with a dragon. Yeah. So for me, it's not been about doing any kind of spread, but just kind of drawing, who do I need to work with at the moment, and, whose message do I need to pay attention to. I do get magic and manifestation a lot that pops up for me. I think that's partly because of the witchcraft side of things. I do teach that as well a lot. So I think that's part of the reason why they've been coming in around me a lot. But some of them I found, there's been some real ones that I found I've already been working with a little bit myself. So I was like, oh, it's really nice to see your take on those energies as well. Like Merlin the Dragon is an energy that I've connected with a lot previously, and I've seen dragons with him as well. So, it was really beautiful to see that you had a card connecting to that too.
I was really surprised when because I've been working with Merlin the person for for a long time. Merlin isn't just works with me. He obviously, he's an ascended master, and he works obviously with a huge amount of people. And so he's been a teacher for me for about 18 or so years. When he showed up as dragon, I went, really? Are you sure, Merlin? And he was like, absolutely. I was really, really surprised when he showed up, because he wasn't one of the original dragons, which is really interesting. Because when I first did this, I had 48, something like 48 dragons. And so when I originally wrote them all, I channeled each one. I was over 40. And when I was told to revisit it to create the deck, I was given the message that I've actually got to revisit every single dragon in turn. Like, what, all 40 odd of them? Yes, because some of them won't be being used. Some of them blended and became one.
Yep.
And then magic and manifestation originally started out as abundance and something else. And they morphed, and there was such a lot of morphing went on, because obviously from my first connection with them in 2005, obviously they had changed, I had changed, we'd all grown, the energies of the planet had changed, the vibration had shifted, everything had sort of started to move, especially then we had sort of the 2012 thing going on as well. And so there's a massive amount of changes had taken place. So when I completely revisited them to produce the deck, then we had new dragons come in. And it was really it was an interesting process. It took me probably a year or so to get every single one written up, and then revisit them again and just make sure, because when you're channeling, when it's you and when it's dragon. And there was a few tweaks I had to make, so like, no, that, and I'll sit with it and go back through the messages again and go, actually that isn't quite right. What have I missed? And so that would have to be tweaked and adjusted. And because I originally self-published, I don't, for those of you that don't know, I've not seen them. This was the very original deck. Oh, where am I going? That one. So these were actually self-published in 2017. And I don't know, did I do 15? I sold, within about 18 months, I sold 1,500 copies worldwide, which I thought was quite impressive. Just through my website and Amazon UK, because I couldn't work out how to use Amazon globally. It was far too complicated for my little brain. And then I got offered a publishing deal by Watkins in London. That was in 2019. So then I had to go through another morphing then, and then obviously I had to not completely rewrite the guidebook, but they wanted a lot more information about the clans in there, because they wanted them, because this deck isn't in their clans. This deck is just in where am I going? They're just in they're just numbered from 1 to 33, and they're not actually in their clans. And my editor wanted them put into their clans. That made me scratch my head. And it was really, actually, when I sat with the dragons and redid them and put them into their clans, it actually all made complete sense, because I'd always thought there were 4 clans, but I could only see 3.
Oh, wow.
And I just couldn't see how they all fitted together. But when I actually went through the process and had them all out on my kitchen table, I started working out which clans went into which pile. And then the guardians, I discovered, were actually pairs. So you've got the healer and Esculapius, you've got Mordwin and who's Mordwin's counterpart? Oh God, who's Mordwin's counterpart? I can't remember. Bear with me, I need my book. Oh dear. Let's have a look. Guardians, Guardians, where are you? oh yeah, Soul Guardian and Mordwin. And so of course these guys are complete, they're the opposite sides of the same coin. I found that such an interesting experience because it deepened my understanding of each of the dragons within the deck. It made me scratch my head and work, that's for sure. But yeah, so I'm just amazed at how well they've been received, because when you do this kind of stuff, yeah, I can remember I was talking to, there's a lady I know called Clea, and she's produced a set of Crystal Skull Oracle. Oh my God, they're amazing. And the photographs of the skulls are all from the collection of the skulls in the hen shop in Avebury. So Philippe, who runs the hen shop in Avebury, is an avid crystal skull person. He's big into his crystal skulls. So he's got one of the best collections on sale in the UK that I'm aware of for quality as much as anything else. Anyway, so I'd met Claire a couple of times, and she told me what she was doing about creating this oracle. And she said, oh my God, I'm so scared, Caroline, that it's going to go, I've got it all wrong. And it is. And I said to her, when I went into launch, when I self-published, I had probably, I don't know, 3 months of complete imposter syndrome. I couldn't sleep. Have I got it wrong? Are people going to think I'm crazy? Are people going to call me out that I'm a liar? I'm a fake? All that awful stuff that goes through your mind. And it is absolutely terrifying. I suppose I didn't get ulcers, to be quite honest, because I was so scared for, I don't know, it felt like months, and eventually settle into the rhythm of it, But yeah, it's it's just that human journey, isn't it? And some of the reviews and feedback I've had about the deck, honest to God, it's just so humbling. I think, my God, you guys are just incredible. This has been my baby for 15 years. And I suddenly put it out to the world, and you stick your head above the parapet waiting to get it shot off because somebody called you out your bullshit. Yep. And touch wood, I thought you would, touch wood. People have been, my God, the cards are incredible. Yep. And, thanks for producing them. And I think one of the best ones, when I launched at the Yule in 2017, and then the following summer solstice, I launched at the hen shop. And the following summer solstice, I was back at the hen shop again doing readings. The lady came to see me and said, I bought your deck at Yule. Actually, it saved my life. It's that was like a jaw drop moment. It was like, it's got through the last 6 months. They've got me out of bed every day. I've pulled a card every day. They've got me out of bed and kept me going. I don't know what got on, and it's not my place to know. I don't need to know. The fact is that the cards did their job. The dragons worked with her and did their job. And she was able to get through whatever she was going through and face the world again. If that isn't a testimony, I don't know what is.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing.
So Carolyn, what made you decide to do the deck in the first place, like the original deck?
I was told. So I'd met dragons in the early 2000s. I was heading up a magazine called One Source, a Mind Body Spirit magazine called One Source. And there's actually a video on my YouTube channel about this, and the ladies that I worked with and met through the Colourworks system. So Colourworks is, if you know Aurosoma, it's coloured bottles and sprays. Anyway, I'd seen these at Mind Body Spirit Fair, and I'd sent the girl I was working with, Karani, to go and talk to Moira, who's now in Canada, and find out about these bottles, because they were beautiful, and I found them completely intriguing. Anyway, the long and the short of that was we did an article about the colour mirrors in the magazine, and then Karani then went on to train in the colour mirror system. She's now one of the world's leading trainers in colour mirrors. She says there's Karani, Moira, and Melissa, who's the founder, and sort of those three are the world's leading practitioners and teachers of colour mirrors in the world. And she came back after doing what was then level 1, raving about dragons. And it's like, oh my God, really? Are you sure? Oh God, Carol, you're the dragon. There's just up your street. Dragons are you. La 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 la. And she kept talking about this for weeks or months. I was like, oh, she just needs locking up. The girl's completely gone loco, you know. And she's a tiny little Kiwi girl, she is, and a tiny little New Zealand girl. And but she's got so much energy. She's just full of beans and life. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, hon, but I think you've lost the plot. Anyway, I wound up doing the colour mirrors again, level 1. And we had to choose. They had the round bottles that sort of this sort of shape, and then they had the spritzers, which are, so I'll just grab you one. This is only a couple of them. The rest of them are downstairs in my other dragon room. So this is red dragon. Oh, where am I going? This is red dragon. This is copper dragon, and they smell divine. I'll spray it at the screen in a minute. And because what's really interesting, I did this with when I did the recording with Moira, Karani, and Melissa. You actually get a sense of the energy, and you get a sense of the smell even over the airwaves. Now, bearing in mind, Melissa's in South Africa, Moira's in Canada, and Karani's in the UK with me. Did a spray. It's like, oh my God, I could feel the energy of this stuff coming across. It was quite incredible. Anyway, so we had to go and choose the bottle to work with. Now, there's no labels, as you can see. All you had to do is, all you had was the colour.
Yep.
And so I trundled into the next room, but what am I drawn to? Oh, I like that one, which was this. And I brought it out, and Maura said, oh, you've chosen Black Dragon. It's like, oh, for goodness sake. So there's another dragon. So anyway, so I sort of bumbled about with dragons for a little bit, played with it, wasn't quite sure what I was doing. Life then went seriously pear-shaped, as it does. Everything went belly up. Financially, the whole shebang went belly up. Me and my husband together, it was not a good time. And we thought we were going to lose everything, including sort of, house and the whole shebang. And a friend of mine taught me to do my Reiki 1. He said, look, come and do your Reiki 1. I said, do you know what? I'm not interested. I'm a trained healer. I'm not interested in Reiki. And he said, you don't have to do it. He said, but you need to do your Reiki 1 for you. He's no Reiki master. So eventually I go, see how resistant I am to stuff? Eventually, I then went off and did my Reiki 1. Oh, my God, that was a game changer. And a red dragon had appeared at the beginning of my Reiki 1 day. And a friend of mine, my Reiki master's wife was there, who's another friend of mine, and she's very, very good clairvoyant medium. And she said to me, there's a red dragon in the room. Now, I'm not particularly clairvoyant, but I am claircognient. I said, yeah, I got a sense of this. But he stayed all day. And then as we did the last sort of thing that you do, the attunements and things you do for your Reiki 1, we'd gone up to a wood called 100 Acre Wood in Fareham in Hampshire. And there's two tiny little rivulets that cross. So you've got the 4 directions. And we were stood on this, and you're surrounded by trees, but there's a gap. So it's almost like you've got a circle of trees around where these tiny little rivers cross. They're only about this wide, tiny little brooks about this wide. And you're doing the attunement, the final attunement. I could hear this noise. I thought, what the dickens is that noise? And I looked up clairvoyantly, and all I could see was a silhouette of a big circle of huge, what I thought were birds initially, flying overhead. I thought, God, that's dragon. And I don't know how many there were loads of them, but they were literally flying in formation, nose to tail, in a circle over my head. And there they gave me my life's work, which was the dragons. And it was to create the oracle cards, to create a set of dragon essences, and to create a dragon healing modality. Somebody else has gone on and done the essences, which is great because I didn't want to do that anyway. Somebody else that I know, I was initially involved in it with the Dragon Reiki, but what I wanted to do was the card. Oh, the other thing was I was to teach dragon all over the world. In 2005, how the hell do you teach dragon all over the world? Which is why it's taken me so long, and the cards were to be global, which is why it's taken me so long from 2005 to 2017 to actually get everything together, because The things I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. So there's no way on this planet I could create this kind of imagery. It just wasn't going to happen. And people that I knew that were artists weren't confident enough to take it on. And when the dragons came back in probably 2014, 2015, I started pushing that the cards had to be created again. It's like, well, I don't know how to do this. And interestingly, we're having dinner with some friends, and I was lamenting about, oh my God, I can't find an artist, I can't do this, I can't do that, la 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 la. And my friend's husband, I didn't know him particularly well. He said, my God, Caroline, that's so easy. All you do is this, and this. And I said, what? Sorry, you're talking technology. I have no idea what you're talking about, because he's a techie geek. Guess what he does for a living. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll come over and I'll take you through it and what on the sites you need to go to, how you set it up and what you need to do. I went, okay. And so we went to there's an agency online that you can sort of put your work out there, say what you want creating, whether it doesn't matter what it is, ghostwriting or whatever, or artwork, anything. And so people then bid to create the work for you. So anyway, we did this. It took a bit of a process, but we did it. And I found this amazing artist in Serbia. And I thought, right, that I like his artwork. They had some very specifics that they needed to answer. They needed to be able to spiritual, need to be able to connect with the dragons, all that kind of stuff. I couldn't have something that wasn't spiritual and couldn't connect with dragon energy. I didn't want just anybody creating this deck. So that I could connect with and work with. His artwork was quite phenomenal, very much fantasy. So I wanted something that did fantasy art, mystical art, that kind of thing. And so we agreed to price everything else. And it got to sort of quite late on a Friday afternoon. I thought, I'll sort the contract out on Monday morning. And the dragon said, we're not working with him. I went, you what? We're not working with him. He's the wrong artist for us. Not going to work with him. End of. So we had a right Barney at that point. I really threw my toys out with the dragons at that point and got really cross. And I thought, well, sod you. I don't care what you want. You want me to do this. I'm gonna do the contract. And I'll send it on Monday morning. I'm gonna do the contract. I opened my emails Monday morning and the artist had pulled out. And I got, we told you we weren't going to work with him. It's like, you sods. And so they chuckled to themselves because they'd won that.
Their way.
They got their way. Absolutely. They thought it was highly amusing. I was furious. And so at that point, I then had another complete paddy and said, then you guys sort it out, find the artist, because I'm not playing anymore. I've had enough now. And then we had a bit of a conversation. And about 48 hours later, Tyrus tipped up in my mailbox from this agency, and I looked through his artwork. I thought, this got some quite nice artwork. Not really what I was looking for, but there's some quite nice artwork in there. And the dragon said, that's who's going to create us. I went, oh my God, no, he's not right. That is who will create us. That is who we wish to work with. This is who you will work with. At that point, I just gave over. I said, guys, if you've got this wrong, on your head be it, because I'm not playing anymore. I've had enough. And off they trundled. Anyway, so I had a couple of conversations with Tyrus. He did me a couple of practice pieces. And it's like, okay, no, they're okay. Well, then you can see the results. And what it turned out is that when I first started this journey with the cards, Tyrus would have been about 12, which is why I couldn't have created them until he'd done his art degree and was in a space where he could create them.
Yeah,
that's why it took so long. Yeah. So there we go. So that's the journey of the Oracle cards.
Wow. Do you know something I find fascinating is that, that journey started for you back in 2005. And that was when I actually started Mystical Dragon as well. So it feels like there's a connection there. And the dragons I understand because they're very persistent. When they want something, I just find they're so persistent. So once I started Mystical Dragon, they really wanted me to write a workshop or a course to connect other people with dragons. But I actually fought them for a long time because I was like, no, people will just think I'm crazy trying to teach them about connecting to dragons. They'll think it's all in my head, even though I was having all these wonderful experiences. I just didn't think other people would believe what I was saying. So I fought it for a couple of years before I actually listened and put the course together in the first place.
I know. It's really terrifying, isn't it? Because there's nobody, I don't know, I wish I'd known you in 2005, because like, I had a big network, but nobody else was talking about dragons,
that's it.
You know, I was completely on my own, the only person spouting this stuff about dragons. And thankfully, I was really lucky that, you know, people were going, oh my God, that's really interesting, tell me more, and that kind of stuff. But blimey, it was a really, really, really scary place to be, because you're completely on your own.
Yeah.
And you do question your sanity, don't you?
I do, yes. We're having wonderful experiences, but it's like, will anyone believe me?
And then I thought, God, is it all my ego? Is it all that, you know, is it all in my head? Is it, am I going to being a big ego thing going on here? And, you know, and that, all that. Yeah, there's all of those things. Isn't it interesting? And what's interesting is that the dragons told me quite early on that they came in en masse because they'd been banned from connecting with people on Earth. There's one or two people had connections with dragons and have had for quite a long time, but en masse for the collective consciousness, they had been banned from working with humans, and that was back in Atlantis. And so they had to be invited in to work with us again. They had to be invited in, and that happened at 9/11. And what it was that the archangels were at the scene of 9/11, and they were so distraught and overwhelmed by the pain that we as people could inflict upon each other that they needed the strength or the energy or the power of the dragon to hold the space and support them, help support us.
Yep.
And that's when they came in en masse. So of course, from 2001 to 2005, so that 4-year period, they started trickling into our consciousness.
Yep.
So I wonder how many more people in 2005 suddenly started connecting with dragon, people like us.
Yep.
That started connecting with dragon from like 2001 onwards. And, you know, it's taken that, 15 years. And now it seems to be they've really connected to our collective consciousness.
And I honestly had noticed that there's been a bigger shift in the last few years. Yeah. So it makes sense what you're saying about, was it 2011? Yeah.
2001, wasn't it? 9/11.
Oh, sorry. Yep. 2001.
Yeah, it was 2001, wasn't it? 9/11? I think it was, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It? Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so that's what they've told me anyway. That's when they came in en masse. So there's a whole backstory behind that of Atlantis and everything else. But yeah, so that was quite interesting. So let's have a quick look at some comments, shall we? Let's have a quick look. So we've got who we said hello to. Hi, Sandra. I say this hello to Julie, Michelle Fitzgerald, good morning, and Kirsten, good morning. So what have we got? So Angie says she's just put this up because what I like about StreamYard is you can do this. Yeah, I love my dragons. They've been with me for a long time, since childhood, and I use the cards of time for spreads and who I need to work with. And last year, the dragons have come through my artwork and buying crystals and physically making the dragons. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Amazing. So now if you've just joined us, what I said to Amanda at the beginning is what we're going to do. We'd like, and Andrew's I'll just stick that back up so you can see what we're talking about, is we'd love to hear your dragon stories, because what I'm doing is I'm going to be giving away a signed deck of these. So if you would, while we're still nattering, if you'd like to put your favorite dragon experience up, your favorite story about, your from the cards or whatever, into the comments here. Amanda will choose her favorite one, if you like. And then if you can, once you've been chosen, if you can DM me or email me through my Facebook page, I will get a signed deck out to you, and it's all free to you. I'll cover the cost of the postage and everything else. There will be, if you're overseas, they will be sent tracked. So because things go missing with COVID at the minute, it'll take forever to get there. So
I have to say, with Andrea's comment, I find the dragons love working with crystals. I find I get lots of connection with the crystals. And I've been guided that they've got a real strong Lemuria connection, and that's where the crystal stuff comes right back to the time of Lemuria before Atlantis.
Yeah, because I've got two. No, my friend Lindsay, if she's on, is going to shoot me. I've got the stripy one. I call it the stripy one. The one that's got all the etchings in it. Is it the code? That's the code keeper, isn't it? Because it's got all the. Can you see? I don't know if you can see.
I can see you've got a quartz.
Yeah, this is a Lemurian code keeper.
Oh yes, the lettering down the side. Yep.
Yes, it's got all the codes down here. Then they've got the star seed one. And these always sit on my desk. I love these, and there is a strong, because the dragons of light are Lemurian. Now some people talk about those being the rainbow dragons, which really irritates me because they're not rainbow, but some people see them as rainbow dragons. But they all connect to these guys and Lemuria, and they're the dragons of light, and they also connect in with the unicorns as well, interestingly, which I found slightly strange, but there we go. So tell me about the cards and your experiences. Do your guys that have got the cards, do they like them? Have you had any good feedback on them, that kind of thing? Just for people's comments.
Yes, everybody that's purchased the cards at Mystical Dragon has been in love with them and has been using them. And we did 7 days of connecting with the dragons on our Facebook page. I drew a card each day and shared the card and just part of the message for that particular dragon. And I had lots of really positive feedback of people that were like, it's exactly what I needed to hear for that day. And it was just the energy they needed. So whenever I do that, I always just ask, what does the Mystical Dragon community need today? And kind of draw a card and work that way. So there's been really positive feedback and connections with the cards, definitely.
Perfect. That's incredible, isn't it?
It is. And I love to use them on my altar as well, like to be able to focus the energy sometimes too. So I found them to be really good for that also.
Absolutely. I must have an echo on it. Oh, bear with me a minute. Let me see if I can get rid of my echo. Bear with me. I've got an echo thing. I've got echo cancellation. Yeah. Yeah. Film. Okay. That's very strange. I did a YouTube live the other day, and I did about how to go deeper with your not live, a YouTube video, sorry, on how to go deeper with your cards, and exactly what you've just said there. I love the synchronicity of this, I said about you can meditate with the card. You can put it on your altar. Now, obviously, you'll probably be aware of this. The dragon love the moon phases, and they connect in new moon, full moon, and that kind of thing. But they also follow the wheel of the year. So if you want to work around one of the Sabbats or one of the moons, either new or full moon or anything in between, if you put it onto your altar or into your sacred space and call that dragon in, of course the dragon power will begin to build in your space. So when you come to do the work of whatever you want to do at the moon phase or the equinox or the Sabbat, of course the dragon energy is already there. You get this much stronger connection. And not only with the dragon from the deck that you've chosen to work with, but also it opens the doorway for your own dragons to make a better connection with you. So I don't know if you found that at all, Amanda.
Yes, it does certainly strengthen the energy. Yep. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. So should we have a look at some of Can you see the comments,
yes,
Amanda?
There's lots of comments coming up.
There is. Let's have a look. Amazing story, very brave for you to argue with a dragon. Do you know what, Sandra? Just while Amanda's having a look at the comments, People say, "Oh, you should." Oh, don't argue with dragons. Oh, oh, bound and scrape. Do you know what? I'm two fingers to that. Absolutely not. People, when we talk with spirit guides and things like that, there's this whole thing about being, very, very respectful. And yes, I agree. There is a level of respect.
Respect.
What
Yeah,
absolutely. You know what? The dragons are so, well, for me, the dragons are so direct. They shoot from the hip. And so I find that I can be completely direct back. And if I don't like it, I will say so. But I also know when they're right, and I've got to shut up and poke up with it. And as they say, suck it up, buttercup. And I know when I've reached that point, it's like, okay, I give over. Because when you can't argue anymore, because they will have their way. And it doesn't matter how much I struggle and resist. I know when they're right, and I've got to go, all right, you win. You have to do
exactly.
I will happily argue with them. Especially if they may be cross about something, like the artist. They were pushing, you've got to get this out, to do this. And then they pulled the rug from under us. It's like, for goodness sake, I put weeks of work into this, and now you're saying you're not going to work with him. What the hell? What do you want? For God's sake, go and sort it out then.
But the good thing is that they do. Like when we hand it over to them, they do. They sort it out, and they make it happen.
They do, and that's true. We just have to get out of our own way, and that's true with all of spirituality, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Just get out of your own way. Stop trying to control it and manipulate it to what you want.
Absolutely.
But that's not about being disempowering either, because the dragons are about being about empowerment. For this, again, my experiences about empowering us to be authentic, to be unique, to be individual, not to follow the crowd, and be brave enough, as Amanda and I have both done, to stick your heads above the parapet and be prepared to have it shot off. It's about being brave, but being brave in your truth, not being brave in your ego or control of others or anything else, but about being brave in your truth. And that's, I think, probably one of the biggest lessons that dragons have taught me. And it is terrifying to step into that power, that authenticity. And I do fall back, and I'm sure Amanda does as well. I do fall back into old patterns, and I have to catch myself and be mindful of what I'm doing. I go, oh, okay, I know what I've done. And you have to sort of almost recalibrate, don't you, and realign with what you're doing. Work out what set you backwards and why you went back into old patterns and old fears, because that's what it is, isn't it? They're old patterns that we've lived with for so long, and then start again. And they've also taught me, and I don't know if you guys have found the same thing, is not to beat yourself up. See it as a learning. It's like, understand it, know what you've done, recognize it, move on.
Exactly. Yep.
They're just incredible teachers. I don't know if you noticed this, Amanda, but I was perusing this morning. The dragons have started to shift gear once again. So they've been, for me, they've been incredible teachers and incredible teaching me on a healing level. So it's on a personal healing, personal development level. Yes, there's a bit of massive spiritual learning as well. But for me, they've really been about, getting past fear, getting past self-doubt, negativity, all of that kind of stuff, because they're so powerful. Excuse me. And now they're just starting to shift gear again. I don't quite know how that shift's going to take place, but it's like they've done their work with me from a healing perspective about standing in my power, being authentic, speaking my truth, and all that kind of stuff. And actually, for me, a big one was actually believing in me and accepting that I'm actually not the crazy lady that talks to dragons. I actually do something of value here for people, and own that. And now I seem to have reached that space now. My God, it's taken me 16 years. And now I seem to have reached that space they're shifting gear again. So I don't know what's going to happen next. There'll be something else will come in, and there'll be more alignments and things. But it's to do with we shifted into the Aquarian age, and there's new energies coming in, and there's a whole.
Does feel like a new energy.
Yeah, there's a whole host of stuff happening, and I'm just looking forward to the next 16 years really for how this is going to unfold. You think the last 16 years has been a massive learning for me. From a healing perspective, from a development perspective, spiritual and personal.
Yeah.
My God, I've done so much in the last 16 or so years. What on earth will happen in the next 16? It's actually really quite an exciting space to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so comments. Let's have a look at your Oh, Julie's just, I love this fight against what you're told. Such a leap of faith for you both. Ah, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's Kirsten said, unlike mermaids more and Atlantis, I'm always questioning guides where Atlantis is. So many theories where experts think that actually where it actually is. I do like dragons, however. I had a bit of a connection with them, so like to protect you. Now, interestingly, going back to, can I just pick up on Kirsten's comment here? Mind. I've had this conversation with the dragons many, many times about Atlantis, because this is my theory that they've told me, or their theory that they've told me. There's a lot of people who say that Atlantis was physically on Earth, and I've always felt that was wrong. I've never, for me, that's never resonated with me personally. I've always thought, there's something that's not right. There's something missing here. I didn't know what it was until I connected with the dragons of Atlantis. What they've told me, and this is much more recent, this is in the last 3 or 4 years, is that the Atlantis actually isn't in this dimension. And possibly I wonder if it wasn't even in this universe that we know as our universe. But it's certainly in a completely different dimension to us. So Lemuria was first, wasn't it, Amanda? Followed by Atlantis. That's right, isn't it? That's what I always understood. Sorry, my phone's. Oh, excuse me. I really need to take this. Excuse me. Hi, Ella. That's absolutely fine. Can I give you to Kev? I'm right in the middle of a meeting in Australia. Hang on. Kev, you here? Oh God. God, he's gone. Okay, yeah, I'll be probably off the next half an hour. And thank you so much, my love. Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Really sorry, that was social services about my mother-in-law, which is why I had to take it.
Yes, for sure.
And my husband's gone out, so I was going to hand her to Kev, but I could. Sorry about that, folks. That was a bit of an important call. The dragons and Atlantis were in a completely different dimension to Earth. That to me just feels solid in my heart. So I don't know how that resonates with you guys, but I really don't feel it was on Earth. That's where I am.
That's fascinating. I can't say I've had any messages about that, but I have only kind of had certain connections with Atlantis. I tend to resonate more strongly with Lemuria rather than Atlantis myself. So fascinating, though.
Yeah,
something I think worth exploring and connecting with a bit further.
Absolutely. I've my friend Lindsay does the Lemurian workshops, which I've done one with her, and I'd like to go back and do it again, because she does a lot with the Lemurian crystals. I've not done a lot with Lemuria, so I'm the other way, and it's something I definitely want to explore further, certainly. Right. Dorothy's saying you forgot to say about your first coloured dragons in the workshop, which started your journey as well with them. Dorothy, let me just stick that up. Dorothy, darling, if you're still here, what have I forgotten? So I know that was the first Dragons of Atlantis workshop I did in 2007. So again, the first workshop was in 2007 that I ran with dragons.
That you ran. Ah, yes, I think that was the same year that I did my first course as well. Because it took me like about 2 years before I actually was courageous enough to actually teach it.
exactly the same. Yeah, August 2007.
How amazing.
We've now had like parallel lives, haven't we? Other side of the globe.
But amazing.
Now that's just weird. That's beyond weird, isn't it? I love it. Dorothy, darling, what was it? I know we had so we were doing the Atlantis dragons, and because when the dragons first came in, they were all dual coloured. Some of them, a lot of people still see dragons in dual colours, but they were all in dual colours. So if it's easy enough to type out, Dorothy, do say, my love, because I can't. I honestly can't remember, my love. See, Dorothy's had dragons since the early mid 1990s. Now, because her dragon, she thought was a lizard. She called him Larry the Lizard. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Dorothy.
Oh, wow.
And she says, if she'd, well, she's now worked out he's a dragon because he's a green lizard, and but if he'd shown himself as dragon, she'd have run for the hills. But she now knows he's a dragon. That was in the early 1990s or mid 1990s.
Well, I started mystical in 2005, but I had seen dragons my whole life. So as long as I can remember, I had seen them and had them around me. And I think that was what kind of fueled me to, start Mystical Dragon and start that path more seriously.
Absolutely. So they've been around some people for quite a long time, because I'd always loved the dragons. I'd love the dragon stories and the dragon films and all that kind of thing. And I always thought they were got a bit of a bad press, but I hadn't taken it any further than that. And I didn't think of them as being energetic beings in any way, shape, or form. They were just mythical, stories. But didn't take it any further than that until they suddenly started appearing.
Well, then you kind of have to pay attention, don't you?
Yeah, you do. So let's have a look at some of these comments. So Steph saying she had an encounter with Mystical Dragon in the development group. And the dragon was in the room and he swept his tail past her legs. Yeah, it's the pressure, isn't it? Absolutely. So Zoe's saying at times like these, I miss living in the UK and having access to things like this earlier than we do out here. We have a few dragons that work in our house. Okay. Best such story I have is a baby dragon that works with our foster son. He was his little green one, who when he was younger would whiz around his head, making him giggle. Oh, amazing. Oh God, we've got loads and loads of comments. Blimey. Crikey. Wow. So actually, Bruce has just said GB there. I'd love to know where in the world you are, guys, because obviously we're in Australia and UK here. So I'd love to know where you guys are, because obviously I know some of you, but I don't always know where all of you are from. So if you could just stick a comment of where you're from, that'd be really amazing. It just gives me an idea of who and what. So have we got anything else?
Steph has asked, can anyone work with dragons? I just wanted to say yes, absolutely. Absolutely anyone can work with them, especially if you're fascinated by them or drawn to them, or have been like myself and Carolyn that have loved the stories and the movies and those sort of things. Then there's definitely an element of dragon in you that kind of wants to connect and be expressed. So absolutely anyone can work with them.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been amazed some of the people that have come to the workshops I run to that have been a bit skeptical when they've arrived, and by the end of the day they're like a believer, because the dragons bring through such strong experiences for them across the day. So even skeptical people.
Absolutely. Well, I think because there's nothing fluffy and nonsense with the dragons, it's not this airy fairy nonsensey stuff we get, is it? There's that power, there's that strength and that honesty, that purity with them.
Yeah.
I think it's just so refreshing, isn't it?
It is. And I always find it's the dragon and the personality of the dragon. It's always the right fit for the person that it comes through for as well.
Yeah, Completely. Completely. Love it. Do dragons in the UK have a British accent? From Bristol, but in Australia now, Melbourne suburbs. Man just taught me about dragons. Do you know, this is really interesting because the dragons have said to me they don't have formal language. How we have our verbal language, dragons don't have the same kind of language that we have. I guess because they're more animal based. they're sort of telepathic, but also work on a body language type thing. So ears and scales and horns and all that kind of thing will all shift and move. So they're very much on a telepathic level. So they've had to learn language to communicate with us. So again, this is something that they've said to me and that I've learned from them. You guys may have a different experience because this is only my experience. That when the dragons talk, and you'll see it in the guidebook, they talk in very short and very clipped sentences. And they're very, very direct. And I really do feel that's because they don't have any formal language, as in a verbal language. And that's why they come across in this very short, clipped and direct way. So I guess the accent that you'll hear, to answer your question, it will be wherever in the world you are because it's what's familiar with you. You know, so you'll have, you know, dragons with a German accent or Australian accent or whatever. You know, I guess that's how they'll come through. I haven't worked with Australian dragons, so I don't know if they have an Australian accent. I don't know what your experience is, Amanda.
I haven't really had an accent side of things come up for me before, so it would make sense though. The telepathy side of things I have had been given before, that they've more worked on that telepathy side rather than, you know, the language side of things. So that makes sense, definitely.
Oh, that's really nice information. Because I do wonder, I get this stuff and I think, I've got nobody to validate this, nobody to bounce this off.
Yes.
So it's actually quite nice that that other people are getting the same stuff, which is quite.
It is. It's nice to get confirmation, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not completely crazy, are we?
No.
Fab. So we've got quite a lot. We've got a lot of you from Australia and Melbourne. Amazing. Oh, so Joyce's saying that probably what I'm getting mixed up with is I always called them the coloured ones, as I didn't connect to Atlantis. They're always seen as colour. It's an age thing. I love her. Oh, so I wonder if there's because Dorothy connects more with the Lemurian stuff. So maybe. So Julie's saying it's a dream that kickstarted her journey and involved an emerald green lizard with a white butterfly attached to it. So there we go. So that's next with green lizard and Larry, doesn't it?
That's beautiful.
I love it. Bruce, I've only seen one dragon and she was stunning, gunmetal grey. Now, Bruce, on that note, what you may find is she's your guardian dragon. And something that because I've been talking to them recently about colours, and I've got to find my notebook where I wrote it all down, what they gave me. But what I do remember is that the guardian dragons tend to be the darkest of colours. Now, they can be like the greys, the browns, the blacks, the very dark blues. So your personal guardian dragon, who's been with you who's been with you forever, and I mean forever, from your very first incarnation, whether here, different planet, different galaxy, different dimension, are those dark colours. So blues, blacks, greys, browns, all that type of thing. They're the guardians of those kind of colours. So it's probably your guardian dragon that you've discovered there, my love. What else have we got? So Bruce saying his daughter wrote a story for school, The Hat from a Dragon Deck, and it flowed so beautiful. Once she read it back on video school, we were all in tears. Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Steph saying Lemura keeps popping up for her. What else have we got here? Oh, you're most welcome to that, Bruce. Not a problem. So, do you want to choose your favourite? You've got a minute to type out your favourite dragon stories, and then because it's 9 o'clock in Australia now, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
9 o'clock. So, let's if you've got a minute or two to type out your favorite dragon stories, so Amanda can choose a.
I'll try and read them.
Amanda can choose one. Oh, sorry, your galactic dragon is black, is it? Your Larry? Oh, I thought he was green, Dorothy. Your Larry the lizard. Well, I'll be quiet while Amanda's reading your comments so she can choose.
Sorry.
That's right. You carry on.
I really love Bruce's story about his daughter. That's just beautiful.
It is, isn't it? That is lovely.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love how the kids connect with the dragons too. I have an 8-year-old son, and he actually started off scared of dragons. When I would talk to him about dragons, he thought they were something scary just from what he'd seen on like television and stuff, because so much makes out that they are scary. But you know, from me working with them and talking to him about them, he now loves them, and he asks me about them, and he talks to me about them, which is really beautiful. And I've seen lots of kids with dragon connections. I think it's amazing, you know, to grow up with such a connection.
It is. It's quite
very special.
Absolutely. When I'm out with the deck, but when we can go to shows and things, the amount of children that come up to me, and I was sort of really quite nervous about children, you know, parents buying the deck for children, because the messages in there weren't designed, apart from Crystal, who's specifically for children, and maybe for Harmony, because Crystal was specifically written for the children. That are on the indigos and the rainbows and the kids on the spectrum. I was really quite nervous about parents buying the deck for children, but you know, absolutely. I've got the children need to know this stuff. Let the children connect. Even if it's just connect with the pictures and the dragons, they'll do their thing with it.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just perfect.
And I have to say, Carolyn, I love the fact you had Crystal in the deck too. That connects with all of the rainbow kids and the kids on the spectrum and all of that, as an energy that you can, you know, invite in for those that maybe, you know, got kids that are on the spectrum or have special needs, to assist you with being able to take care of them and understand them that bit better. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, she was really came in. And, I can't remember. I think she was one that had morphed initially. So she started off as one particular a dragon, and she'd always had that sort of element, because I've got an indigo, or you know, a rainbow child. He's not child now, he's adult and left home and whatever. But yeah, you know, so I was always aware of sort of the crystal children. And so she was quite insistent that she came in, and she's gradually sort of changed. And then obviously what we've got the deck is now what we ended up with. Yeah, and it was quite important for me that she was in there, and you know, I'm glad she chose to be a part of it. So, so Bruce is saying his son's favorite dragon is Auberon. Oh, I love it. Brilliant. So all about being grounded, being present, isn't it, Auberon? You know, being base chakra, that security, that stability. What a fantastic place to start for a 3-year-old.
That's what I was just thinking. How amazing to do that on a daily basis.
Yeah. Fantastic. Excellent. So has anybody got any last minute questions for us before we sign off? And what I'll do, Bruce, if you can drop me a PM. So I think that's the one we've settled on, isn't it, Mando? Is that what you wanted, Bruce's one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think that's drop me a PM or a DM, Bruce, through my page. I'll get a signed deck over to you. I'll talk to you about who you want it made out to, whether it be to the kids or something like that, or whether you want to gift it to somebody, because if you've got a deck, you can always gift it to somebody if you'd like to. So let me know, and I will and I'll get that post.
There's so many beautiful stories. Thank you for sharing your stories, everyone. They're amazing.
It is. Oh, I like Martin's, having a dragon wrap their wing around me when I'm one of my lowest points. Absolutely. That is, you can just sink back and they just wrap around you, don't they? It's just beautiful. Bruce, thank you so much. The kids get stoked. I love it. As long as you've got happy children. Makes a happy household, doesn't it? Happy children.
That's what we want.
Absolutely. Is there a link for Amanda? Yeah, do you want to stick your link up, Amanda, for into the comments for Mystical Dragons?
Yep. I would do that, definitely.
Martin really felt a strength. Absolutely. Yeah, people, some of this, I've just lost somebody's comment. Let me just go back up. Harmony says her dragon scared her one night by landing on the car while she was driving. Thought some sort of tree branch or something had landed on the car. He just told me he wanted to enjoy the ride for a while. Do you know, I've heard that a few times with people. They sit on the roof of the car and drive with.
Yes. I call it car surfing. Well, that's what they gave to me years ago. And I always see them sitting on the car with their wings stretched out, and they car surf, and that's how they protect you in the car.
I love it. I'm missing out. I've never experienced that. Come on, guys, I want to experience car surfing.
And I have to share. There was one story once. One of my students that came to my course, she had about an hour and a half drive to get home. And she got there that night and she was like, I don't know how I'm going to get home. I've got almost no petrol and I don't have any money left. Don't know how it's going to happen. And so we said, well, let's put it to the dragons to help you get home safely. And then when she came back to the course the next week, she said that the dragon had peed in her tank and that had gotten enough petrol to get her home safely. And she just got a really strong message that night when she got back in the car and the petrol gauge went up. And she was like, and that's when she got the strong message. They said, we've peed in the tank and you can get home now. So they do amazing things, not just with cars, but just amazing things in general.
That's phenomenal.
I love hearing other people's stories. It's wonderful. You know, it really validates our own experiences with them.
Yeah, quite incredible. That is just phenomenal. I just love it. I love it. Oh, you're most welcome, Bruce. Mr. Green, Mr. Green Lizard. Okay. Chris is saying the connection with the dragon of Purple Room, Mystical Dragon. Heard it on the roof. Wow.
Oh yes. Our Purple Room, we call, it's like an airport for dragons. You can hear them land on the roof, like you honestly can. We get that as like a full-on phenomena that happens in our Purple Room at Mystical Dragon. Wow. It's been amazing, and we've got whole classes that hear it. And we've had the boys go on the roof to check that it's not like birds or something strange. And they're like, no, it definitely can't be those kind of noises. We can't explain what noises that you're hearing. And it's not constant noise. It's just for certain classes or at certain times. You hear it sounds like big, heavy dragons landing on the roof.
Good.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like lots of them coming and going all the time there.
I love it. One last question. Do you find that the dragons connect into the Wheel of the Year and the festivals?
Yes. Yeah. I work with dragons quite a lot with, my practice with the Sabbats and just doing any kind of ritual meditation or spell work. They just adore being in that energy and working with that energy and assisting us with connecting with the earth energy and, the seasons and all of that.
Yeah. Fantastic. This is what they've told me, and I've been sort of loosely working with the dragons and the Wheel of the Year for a couple of 2 or 3 years, and then some point during last year, might have been the year before, they said to me I had to start actually physically walk the Wheel of the Year. And this had come through a conversation. I was down in Avebury, and there's a lady who runs a shop in Avebury. So you've got the hen shop at one end of the high street. The other end of the high street, you've got a shop called Elements. I was in Elements talking to Donna, who runs Elements, and she's saying she'd been walking the Wheel of the Year through the labyrinth. And I had a really interesting conversation about the labyrinth. And as I walked out the shop, the dragon said to me, "You need to walk the Wheel of the Year, walking the labyrinth. That's why we took you to talk to Donna." I went, "Oh, okay." And so it took a little while for me to try and find a labyrinth. Anyway, eventually, so last summer, when we were allowed out and about, there's a labyrinth that's not far from me, and it's on an old Iron Age hill fort near Winchester. And so I went off to try and find this hill fort and this labyrinth on the hill fort. So I had a couple of practice runs on walking it, how it felt, what I needed to do, and have that guidance. And they said, now start and walk the Wheel of the Year at Samhain. So I started my journey, Samhain just gone, to start and walk. So I had to be at the beginning of the Celtic year. And so I was obviously waiting for spring equinox. So in a couple of weeks' time to then continue my journey. So I've walked every equinox or every Sabbath, I've walked the Wheel of the Year. And so I'm going to take it right through to Samhain again coming up. And it's really surprising how walking the labyrinth and connecting to the earth, and the ancient earth of that old hill fort, and the dragons and the land, and watching the seasons change and the sky change, and yeah, it's been really fascinating. It's been a really fascinating journey, actually.
Beautiful.
Love it. Right then, ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us. Amanda, thank you for a fantastic chat this morning. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Carolyn. It's been great.
No, absolute pleasure. So, Bruce, if you're still here, make sure you drop me a DM, darling. And Amanda will put her contact details up for her Facebook page and everything else. And when the world opens again, I'm planning on doing a world tour of Dragon Talks. So I'm talking to somebody in Canada about going out to Canada and doing some work out in Canada. So maybe I'll come and hijack Mystical Dragon.
You must come to Mystical Dragon, yes. Definitely.
Come and do a workshop and some readings and some training and whatever in Melbourne. But anyway, we can't leave the UK at the moment. So
I don't think they're letting anyone into Australia at the moment.
No, exactly. Everywhere, the world's still closed.
Yeah.
So hopefully and what's really interesting is the Prime Minister has said that we reopen on the 21st of June.
Oh, well, that's good.
So as long as we don't have a spike in numbers are still all coming down here. We don't have a spike in numbers and people are sensible. Yeah, we have all restrictions are lifted on the summer solstice. So I wonder if that was conscious or whether he was guided by dragon.
Who knows?
To do that. So maybe actually we ought to. Oh, actually, that's something, guys. I'm doing a meditation with Harmony tomorrow night on Zoom. So it's time to book onto that. And we're actually doing global healing with the Harmony Dragon. So if you don't know Harmony, I'm sure you all know Harmony, but just in case you don't know who Harmony is, so I'm doing a monthly meditation with the dragons at New Moon. And so this month we're working with Harmony. And we're doing a global healing meditation or personal healing. It'll be completely channeled by me at the time. But Harmony says she's wanting to do global healing. So actually, maybe it would be quite a good idea maybe to do some healing around the whole COVID situation and for individuals, for whatever the fears, anxiety or whatever that's coming up for people. Work through the energy lines of the globe to spread that energy out through the energy lines. This is what she's just saying to me. So, if you want to join us for that global healing meditation tomorrow evening at 7:30 UK time, so it'll be 6:30 in the morning in Australia.
I was going to say plus 11 hours for Melbourne or for Australia. Yep.
Yeah. So if you'd like to join me, it's on my website. We think the links work now. If not, drop me a message. We'll sort it out. Join me for meditation with Harmony for global healing, which would be amazing to kickstart that energy and start to kick the backside of COVID out the door. Would be nice, wouldn't it?
That will be nice.
Let's have some normality and some safety in traveling and seeing everybody. All right, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed our chat. And I'd like to do it again at some point. We can compare notes again in a little while.
That would be good.
Fantastic, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe and all that stuff. Big love to you all from Dragon Studio and Dragon HQ here in the UK.
Thank you so much, everybody.
And take care, all. Be good. Have a fabulous weekend, all. Bye.
Take care, Carolyn.
And you. Bye, love.